Are we starting to see the top of the market right here in the Treasure Valley? And is that looming possible market correction right around the corner? Let's go ahead and dive into all that information right after this. Well, welcome back after that break, everybody, and thank you for joining me on another episode here on my YouTube channel. Of course, I am Mike Petrus, your Star Realtor of Star and the Treasure Valley, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about, are we seeing the top of the market here in the Treasure Valley and what to expect coming up here in the future. So what I'm going off of is Altos Research, as you can see above here, and Altos Research is generally a paid service for realtors here in our industry that kind of lets us know the stats, or actually really lets us know the stats of what is happening, in our area, particularly when it comes to price decreases, median list price, median price of new listings. Of course, if you'd like access to this too as well, you don't necessarily have to pay for it. There are some ways, around that to be able to get their stuff that is free of charge on their site. So if you are looking for that, feel free to reach out to me. I can be reached at 208-715-STAR. Be more than happy to get you the link and discuss your goals coming up here in the future. So let's go ahead and let's start off with Boise ID, okay, Idaho. And as you can see, as of Wednesday today, we still have a strong seller's market overall, but you can see a dip between what happened here last month. You can see that it was just above, the 70 mark here on their nice little radar that they have, and you can see that it's starting to dip down. But if we can take a look over here at the median price, we can see that the median price has dumped down. Okay, generally since, back here in March, okay, and we can see the median price of the new listings actually popping on the way back up. And if you're somebody that actually avidly watches my Mikey's monthly market updates too as well, you did notice that Ada County did still continue to jump up slightly in the overall median home price and the overall average sold price. But if you looked at Canyon County, we actually had a bit of a difference there where it actually started to come back down. Now, I did break that down in terms of why I think that happened in Canyon County, but do I see these prices starting to plateau in both counties? I do. I start seeing them plateauing. And as I've predicted before, I do see a market correction coming up sometime probably like later this year, maybe early 2023. We will just have to wait and see on that in terms of what's going to happen. And that really depends, again, if the Fed can handle the inflation and finally be able to tackle it to where it's starting to come back down, which in my opinion, I think that Powell's been a little bit asleep at the wheel compared to being able to tackle this, say like compared to Volmer or Greenspan, some of the former chairs that faced recessions in the past. So we'll just have to wait and see how that happens. So hopefully we start seeing that inflation ticking down. And of course, if you watch my videos too, you could probably see the one on my recession thoughts. I do see that coming up. And historically, every time a recession hits, interest rates will come back down. But as of today, our interest rates still aren't terribly bad. They're sitting just below 6%. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of the private sector is coming in and buying up the mortgage securities that the Fed is dumping off because they're basically losing really, really bad in the stock market. So putting it in 10 or 30-year treasury yields is something that's really attractive, to people that are losing badly. Now, of course, I'm not a stock guy. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to talk with you about that. But as long as the mortgage securities themselves can kind of balance themselves out, then our interest rates will still stay about where we're at. But the Fed is still going to meet in July and September. Keep that in mind. And I do see rates going on the rise. But as we can see also our average price per square foot has been dipping. The average days on market is still dipping, which is great because that's what you want to see, in a good, healthy market, is the average days on market not being terribly bad. Median days on market being 14. But let's take a look here at the price decreases. Okay, we're looking at 45% of the listings that are available in Boise right now are seeing price decreases. How many of those are going price increases? Not very many. Okay, so sellers, it is kind of key. There's those days of basically asking, whatever you want, because we have a whole ton of buyer drive, out here are really over. And if you properly price your home correctly, sellers, then you can see maybe multiple offer situations still, because we still have a good buyer's demand out here to the area, even though the interest rates have chopped off some of the buyer demand to this area. We have definitely seen cooling, and you can definitely see the cooling in the price decreases that you've seen. So for example, if I'm just hovering over here, Friday of last week, we saw it 42.99%. And then today we're at 45%. Okay, so we're seeing price decreases come. And if we look historically, let's say all the way back, even in July of 2020, as compared to today, you can see the difference. Okay, we're starting to creep up, and I anticipate this number to continue to creep up as we go along. If you're looking around the holiday seasons and stuff like that, yes, because you can expect some price decreases because the buyer pool is generally not there. They're on vacation or they're enjoying their holidays. They really kind of don't want to deal with it. But, seeing, spikes during the hot season is something to definitely pay attention to. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to go through all the cities here. Okay. And we'll start off with Meridian here next. Okay. And if we're taking a look again from last month, the meter has gone down, but they still consider it a strong seller's market. And one of the things that I did mention before is what Altus Research does do is they have what's known as a market action index. What they're doing with that, don't ask me. I think that's a proprietary thing that they've got. But you can see in Boise too, as well here in Meridian, the market action is starting to reduce. So the market action just saying, hey, compare, the rates of sales compared to the inventory. And if you do follow Mikey's monthly market updates, you do notice too that our inventory is way up. Okay, it's starting to jump up, and it's starting to head towards back to normal levels. But normal levels are considered 6 months of actual inventory to our area, and that's basically nationwide. If you have a 6-month inventory, then you basically leveled the market. All right, we're still not there yet. I would say we're still hovering about a month and a half, maybe 2 months of active inventory, maybe a little bit less, but that's where we're at right now. So we're still on our way up back to a normal market, but you can see the market action. Okay, it started to dip down. It's cooling. The buyers aren't there. The inventory is going up, and it's starting to spread the gap. But if we're looking again here, you can see the overall median list price that they've got, or median price on new listings too. That's jumped up. The median list price has gone down. Price per square foot is starting to go down. Average days on market, again, that's going up a little bit here in Meridian. Okay, so you're seeing a little bit of that softening, but the price decreases, again, sitting at 45%, price increases at 1%. Okay, so if we're taking a look over here at our chart with the properties with the price decrease, again, you can see that we are higher with price decreases than we saw in July of 2021, but still in Meridian under some of the price decreases that we saw in July of 2020. So Meridian still, strong seller's market, but you can see, according to the meter, it's tipping down. Let's take a look at Eagle. Eagle, same thing, dipping down a little bit, kind of getting towards that buyer's market line according to their market action index. Market action index has gone down. The price decreases here in Eagle, we're looking at about 50% of the listings that we've got out there. And you can see the median list price is also coming down. And if we look in comparatively here, July of 2020 to July of 2021, and then here to June, July of 2022, you can see that the price decreases are jumping up. Okay, so let's go over to Star. Star, Idaho, same thing. Okay, we have definitely dipped down from last month. You can see the overall median list price, according to them, is diving down. Price per square foot, price decreases 44%, and price increases only sitting at 4%, and the market action is dipping down. And especially during the hot season, to see that market action index starting to dip down, it's letting you know, okay, that inflation and interest rates and all of that is starting to take its toll. CUNA, let's take a look at them. Big jump from last month down from what you can see. Median list price, according to them, has jumped down. Price decreases sitting at 41%, price increases at 1%, and our market action index is sloping down over here. And if we're looking at our chart, sorry, I'll go back to STAR here real quick because I know I missed that. But if we're looking at the price decreases back in July of 2020, not a lot. In July of 2021, they jumped up. And now even here in June of 2022, we're jumping up a little bit further. So again, it's coming up in terms of who's dumping in their properties or who's dumping the price on their properties, okay, doing price decreases. So I wanted to go back to STAR because I know I didn't touch that. But if we look at the graph, again, you can see it on the upward swing as compared to prior years. Okay, well, that's getting in my way. So let's go ahead and let's go over to Emmett here real quick while we have that. At least I can access this one. Okay, Emmett, we can see that it is jumped down again from last month. Okay, starting to encroach that buyer's market, and they're actually considering a slight seller's advantage here in Emmett, Idaho. You can see the median list prices have dipped down a bit. The price decreases on active sales is at 42%. Price increases at 7%. And the market action is actually taking that turn back down. Looking at the graph in Emmett, you can definitely see it is on the rise. People are decreasing the value of their property in order to sell. So inventory, again, is on the rise. It's creating a gap in between the buyer's demand, even though the graphs in the Mikey's monthly market updates are showing that they're still kind of level. But again, we're indicating, a healthy market. But again, we do know that this market is cooling and a lot of the buyers are jumping out because of the interest rates. Maybe they're not in the position to afford. So sellers definitely know that. And as inventory rises, I want to say again to sellers, as inventory rises, that's more competition for you, okay, to be able to sell your house. And if you're not appropriately pricing your house, that could be very difficult to do. It could reduce the traffic that's coming in. And of course, if your house is sitting longer than 2 weeks on the market, then people start asking questions, what is wrong with this home? Or they start diving in and saying, or their realtors start diving in and see where it's priced according to the market. And price decreases might have to come down. You might have to bring your values down in order to compete with the rest of the competition out there. That is just the nature of the beast with supply and demand. As the supply starts tipping above the demand and that starts to grow. So, but over here in Emmett, again, you can see all this price decrease 42%, price increases 7%, market action, again, taking a dip down to 42. And if we're scrolling down here, you can see it on the rise. If I already covered that, I do apologize, but just wanted to dive into that. Caldwell, okay, Caldwell's still sitting at a strong seller's market, but you can see it, also again, diving down. The median list price diving down, median price of new listings going kind of ticking up a little bit, but kind of coming down. Price decreases on active listings, 50%. That's where we're sitting at. Price increases 4%, and the market action is dipping down again. So we're seeing the same trend as we go along. But if we're taking a look here at properties with price decrease compared in Caldwell, compared to what happened in July 2022 or 2020, July of 2021, and June of 2022, you can see the price decreases on properties jumping up, okay, as the active properties have to dive down in order to compete. So sellers, again, keep that in mind. Nampa, same thing. Median list price coming down. Median price of new listings still kind of coming down overall. Price decreases sitting at 40%. Price increases 2%. Market action, again, diving down. And if we're taking a look, we're just above, what we saw here in July of 2022 with price decreases. July of 2021, definitely above what's going on. So we are seeing a shift as we go along. And Middleton will be the last one here on our hit. We're still at a strong seller's market according to their market action index, but you can see that dive from last month. Median list price kind of flatlining, here on this one, but price decreases, you see it sitting at 44%. Price increases, nobody was doing that according to them. And the market action, again, is diving down. So I know that I did cover a lot of this in terms of, as I was speaking along, comparing to where inflation rates are right now. Is the Fed doing enough to tackle the inflation rates? In my opinion, not quite yet. We'll see what happens this month since they got a lot more aggressive. Well, have interest rates been on the rise? Yes, they have. Have they kind of stabilized, come back down, and played a roller coaster game? They have. Okay. But again, I talked about how some people are taking their money and investing in 10-year treasury yields or 10-year treasury bonds in order to basically not take the hits that they are taking in the stock market. So as long as that continues to happen, that's going to be good. But sellers, keep in mind, the Fed is still going to meet in July. The Fed is still going to meet in September, and we can anticipate the interest rates to go up. And as they do, you can anticipate the buyers' demand to go down and cool. Even though we still have a strong buyer's demand here to this area, it is still cooling. And you can see, though, as inventory is spiking up, these properties are decreasing their fair market values, or their what they consider fair market value more to a more fair market value, or they're overpricing. I'll get to that here in 1 second, and coming down in order to compete with the spikes in inventory that we have seen in Ada and Canyon counties. Now, I did do a couple of CMAs, just to do it and kind of see, are people really pricing their homes too high still? And that seems to be the norm. Okay, a lot of these price decreases, sellers, is because you're shooting a little too high from what the fair market value is going to be asking for. So again, I want to recap and say, really, those days of asking pretty much whatever you want, I know I'm being very facetious there, but asking pretty much whatever you want, and a buyer's going to come in and suck it up, that's really not there anymore. The multiple offer situations, they've really kind of dived down unless you're appropriately pricing your home. So when you sit down with your seller's agent, okay, or me, I'd love to represent you. Reach out to me and give me a call. Love to set up that meeting. But as we talk about the numbers, if you fairly price your home and what your realtor is suggesting and all of that, then you have more success to be able to sell it for the most amount of money possible and in the least amount of time possible. Okay. And that, of course, depends on your motivation too, as well. And that's something we would definitely talk about at the appointment. But you can see, though, price decreases are all over every single city here in the Treasure Valley. And it's going to continue, in my opinion, to do that as interest rates go up. So fairly and marketing your property at a fair market value is definitely critical right now. And even if you were to get, say, an offer at what you're looking for that's overpriced, appraisals have really come back online, and the appraisal process itself is going to come through. They're going to run their comps, and there's always an appraisal contingency unless you can figure out how to waive it. Those days are pretty much over. If you're having a lot of multiple offer situations, or if you have a lot of offers, then yeah, there's always strategies for all of that. And I'd love to sit down and talk with you about that. But nowadays, you can just kind of see the difference to where there's not like 30 offers coming to your property, maybe a couple if you fairly properly price your home. Okay, so wanted to go through all that. I just want to say thanks again for taking the time to watch this. Do I think that this is all going to continue to go the direction we'll see more price decreases? Yes. Do I see Ada and Canyon County going back to a flat line in terms of the overall median home price and overall sales price? Yes, I do see that. And do I see a market correction potentially coming up here, say later on towards this year or the beginning of next year? I still do see that, but the market correction I'm still anticipating to be around 5 or 10%, but we shall see. Okay, so thanks again. Let's go ahead and summarize this, and thank you so much. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to watch that video. And so let's go ahead and let's kind of break down really what I was talking about and where I see this really landing here coming up in the future. So sellers, as you know, this video is really kind of more or less designed for you and for homeowners alike, all around the Treasure Valley, so that you know where our market stands currently. So to kind of break this down, as you can see from basically all of the meters that they had for all of the cities, you can see that it is starting now to shift towards a buyer's market. Most of the cities are still a strong seller's market. But there are some that just have a slight advantage, like say Eagle and Emmett. Eagle, I can kind of more or less understand because it's a little bit more high priced than any other city within the Treasure Valley. So the buyer's pool is kind of limited as say to other areas like say Star, Middleton, Nampa, Caldwell, etc. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're a homeowner in Eagle or you are a seller in Eagle. So either way, we are seeing the shift. We are seeing price decreases on the rise to active listings. You can see them having to dump their price from what they consider fair market value down to really a fair market value that is going to entice. Again, as inventory goes up and the buyer's demand starts to cool, which is what is happening here in the Treasure Valley, this is what to expect, sellers. More inventory means more competition and more selection for buyers, for the buyers that are starting to be limited, to be able to come in and buy up your home. So anticipate the price decreases to be on the rise. Anticipate that needle to go more towards a shift towards a buyer's market, okay, which means that honestly, and we can see it through some of the list prices as they got going through, you can see that kind of coming down. And again, if you avidly watch Mikey's monthly market updates, you can see that Ada County slowed down in its overall increase in median home price since the beginning of the year, and the average sold price. And Canyon County actually went down a little bit, but of course, watch that video and figure out as to why I think Canyon County did. Do I see this market starting to plateau again? Yes, I do. I honestly start seeing that to happen because, again, inflation still has not been tackled by Powell, and interest rates are still on the rise, even though I've already kind of mentioned it in the video that some private investors are coming in, buying up the mortgage securities, et cetera, okay, and kind of leveling this out. But right now, it's still a good time, especially if you're considering to sell, because I'm sure you're going somewhere else and you want to be in the buyer's pool. So do I see that we're approaching or maybe even at the top of the market? We shall see, okay? But I honestly feel that according to the data, we're about there if we're not already there. And do I anticipate a market correction to possibly come up a little bit later on towards this year or maybe early of 2023? Again, I do see that happening. So sellers, this is a great time. It's a great time to sell. Inventory still isn't skyrocketed, to a 6-month level, and you've got a whole ton of competition. And the buyer's pool is still good here. So as you can see in a lot of the meters, it's still indicating a strong seller's market. And then if you're making a lateral move elsewhere, you got to understand that the interest rates are still relatively manageable. And once the inflation is tackled, we will definitely hit a recession. And when we do, historically, the rates will come back down. You can refinance and all will be well. So if you are looking to sell or you're looking to buy or invest right here in the Treasure Valley, feel free to reach out to me. I can be reached at 208-715-STAR. Again, that's 208-715-7827. And if you're looking to begin your home shopping experience right now, feel free to visit my website at www.yourstarrealtor.com. If you're thinking about coming in from out of state right here to the Treasure Valley, please click in the description below, download my free relocation guide, so that way you're in the know before you decide to make the move. And of course, hit that subscribe button below, hit the notification bell so that you're constantly in tune with all the videos that I do come up with in the future. So everybody have yourselves a great and happy and safe 4th of July coming up. I look forward to the day we speak. I look forward to the day I call you my neighbor. God bless. Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.